from a fan's perspective or from a business perspective?
Well, we'll start with the fans' perspective.
It's gotten harder to find good stuff. It's gotten harder to find music that's really, has some bite to it, has some, speaks to you on more than a fourth grade level.
Is it something where you feel the music the quality of the music being made isn't as good, or it's just harder to find?
Oh, I firmly believe that it's just harder to find. That right now there's probably more good music. And I mean, good is a real subjective thing, but good music is, music that anyone will like. There is music for anyone out there. There were 60,000 records released last year. I mean, there's got to be something there for everyone, right? Have you ever seen how diamonds are now, something they advertise on TV?
Yep.
But they don't advertise topazes or emeralds or stuff like that, because those are diamonds have become a girl's best friend. Diamonds are almost a pop cultural phenomenon. But other gemstones are more ephemeral, not ephemeral, that's not the word I'm looking for, more personal.
Okay.
The kind of music that we're talking about has become more personal. The kind of music that's out there, even the diamonds, have become very homogenous largely because radio is owned by 4 or 5, 90% of radio is owned by 4 or 5 giant conglomerates. When radio first came out, the music industry and radio had this weird alliance. It was kind of a yin-yang thing, or almost symbiotic. The record companies provided the music that radio played. And in turn, for playing it on the radio, the record companies got to sell lots of music, and that worked through rock and roll. And up until the 80s, when things started to get very corporate. And since then, while the music business, or particularly the record business, has operated under the assumption that it's business as usual, the radio industry is operating under the assumption that we need to sell time to make money. I mean, radio's not there for your enjoyment. Radio's there to make money. If they can make more money with a different format, they're going to flip the format like that. So radio is now very big money, and it's owned by 4 or 5 large companies. 95% of the radio in America is owned by 4 or 5 large companies. And those companies don't care about breaking new music. They care about selling their airtime. People, what they want on a lowest common denominator basis. They're not going to feed the people culture, but they're going to feed them entertainment. And it's going to be, safe entertainment, because they don't want to have, unless it's their brief, they don't want to have, a lot of, stuff going on, especially about their music.
Well, what are some examples that you're seeing in in modern radio today, and how it's perpetuating this sort of?
Oh man, well, for one thing, it's programmed by computer. It's all programmed. Were you aware of that? The DJ is an anachronism. Calling somebody a disc jockey, unless they're in a club, calling them a disc jockey is an anachronism. Like if Joni Mitchell were trying to break today, no one would play her because she's too eccentric, too, just slightly off center. And she's no Christina Aguilera. But that's kind of the point. Everything's become this Disney version of reality.
What are some of the tactics that they use to sort of push that format on people so that the people will listen? I mean, because the point I'm trying to make is that you could blame the radio stations, but we're the ones listening.
Right.
We're the ones allowing it to happen. If we wanted a Joni Mitchell, wouldn't they go to that? I mean, who's really to blame?
Well, I don't know. It's a matter of if enough people wanted. You know, we're not even talking median. I mean, we're not talking averages here. We're talking medians. We're talking like the straight, solid middle of the road. Is not as bland as some stuff, not as exciting as others, and will keep people tuned in. They don't care what they think of the music, just as long as they stay tuned in.
Does that mean, you know, the top grossing album of 2000, Backstreet Boys, Millennium, was a great album? I mean,
By no means, and I worked, but it appealed to a specific audience. It was designed to appeal to a specific audience. It was designed to appeal to, you know, 10 to 14-year-old girls. And I mean, the guy who produced it, Lou Pearlman, the guy who owns, you know, he manages them, owns the production company.
is he still around?
Yeah, he's still around. And his mantra is, as long as there are little girls, I will always be able to sell records.